has found the suspected corrupt officials, a very small fraction of the public service, by the way, to have acquired private properties, set up large construction conglomerates, and bought enormous swatches of land. Undoubtedly, theft of public funds has reached endemic levels. Worryingly, the corrupt have mastered ways of deception to hide their ill-gotten wealth. The question is, will all the legal instruments and institutions to fight corruption, why has corruption persisted? What pragmatic solutions can be implemented to rid Uganda of this vice? Now, I have to be careful because that's when I'm coming in with the so-called solution. And those who oppose me and who agree with me should just wait until I finish. So, practical considerations. The war against corruption in Uganda needs a traditional remedy. The hardline, long-winded, and productive legalistic approach will not in isolation bring the crisis at hand to urgent halt. We need to pick lessons from other battles we have fought and won. At one time, Uganda was a country of killers. Now, it is a country of thieves. So how did we go about the more dangerous enemies of Uganda, the killers? We pursued a multidimensional approach. As we continue to pursue them in combat, we also offered a window via amnesty for those that opted to repent. In my view, it is my view that we offer amnesty for all public servants who offer to declare the possessions they have acquired fraudulently. I know this is an academic class. That's why I'm becoming very, very academic and gladly so. Government should commit not to prosecute those who heed the amnesty to the amnesty call. However, the amnesty beneficiaries must be valued, and they pay all their tax obligations. Any individual who does not heed this call should expect the harshest and most punitive measures, just like we did to the killers of innocent Ugandans. Implementation model, because for us in the military we are systematic, we don't talk in generalities. Implementation modalities. IGG and URA handle the process. Because now we declare assets, but it is kept as a top secret by the IGG. And he does not share it with the CID, for instance, or with the URA. That is a disconnect. IGG to distribute declaration forms to all public service entities, including us here at the MUBS and all the universities. A date for receiving the forms be set and publicized. Whoever does not hand in their forms by that date be deemed to have ignored the amnesty call. Those who cooperate should appear before the commission and openly declare their route. URA will then undertake the evaluation and assess the tax to be paid by amnesty receiver in the specified period. This conciliatory but definitive strategy will open up a new beginning. I have no doubt that this strategy may sound silly and unconscious, I don't know how to pronounce this, without conscience. I have no doubt that this strategy may sound silly and without conscience. However, history has taught us that from silly ideas have come some ingenious results. Conclusion, Uganda has come a long way. we have made some good progress. I missed that one there. A return of challenges still exist, but if we run big on the simple means of addressing them, the future is undoubtedly bright. Ceasefire and look forward. Thank you very much. I need water.
Thank you very much, General, for that presentation. So you've seen the idea General is putting up process. You have heard also the presentation from Dr. Montejo. You have heard also the alternative views of our senior counsel here, Mr. Tumushabe Godiba. So we are going into the debate now. We want you to ask these gentlemen questions, the three of them. You just say your name and the person you are directing the question to, and you state the question. And I will strictly want one question from a person. You want to ramble? Be very precise. We don't have time. Thank you very much. I think we need this microphone to be taken around. You get it off that. I will use this one too. Start there.
Thank you very much. My name is Moses Madov. I'm a communications consultant. My question is directed to General Sari and partly Mr. Good Patrician. When you look at Vision 2040, I criticize it and I think, or I beg, that you take this message seriously. When I look at people who are heading the National Planning Authority, they are above 40 years of age. And Uganda's biggest population is below 30 years. If you can do considerable change and involve younger people below 30 years in the planning agenda, we are going to have a successful Vision 2040. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Come here. I might be sad. My boss.
Thank you, Ramadan. I hope that is not a corruption tendency. My question goes to all the discussants. It's about, each of them has tried to bring out these ideas. Dr. Mtenyu said it, but the issue of value and norms. And if you look at what General Salinsa is proposing, it also has an idea of some kind of a norm and value and moral somewhere, for someone to come out and declare. How do we create this? Because this is our problem. I don't want to call it corruption, it's theft. But how would we weed out the theft, especially from the young generation? Because if you're talking about transformation and Vision 2040, we need to create what we call a moral economy. We need to create where people can stand, as our council, Mr. Tumusha, where he said no to corruption. How do we create that within our population? Thank you.
The doctor there is the head of Department of Accounting in MUBS.
Thank you very much, Ramadan. Thank you very much for the presenters. My question goes to Saleh. I very much agree with his proposal. I'm glad with it. However, I want to make a modification. There are people who steal money here and take it abroad. We want to know how you can incorporate that, the idea that they should return that money back and invest it probably here, so that we can tax them properly. Because if the money remains the other side, we never get it. The second one ties in with his introduction, when he says 40% of donor aid will have been stored before it reaches here. Now, how do we get that money back to us? Because we are aware the donor aid is always conditions attached. There are always conditions the country has to pay in terms of meeting those conditions. So how do we get that money back so that your model can be holistic? Thank you.
I will get 3 more questions and then we get to the round. First to go that side, those 3 there.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Lucy Arigawa, an assistant lecturer in the Department of Finance. I'm adding on to what Ms. Nasuna said. She's from what she says, corruption and the solutions to corruption come from changing people's mindsets. Now, there are 2 views that I picked from a journal. One is the pessimistic view, and the other is the optimistic view. Now, with the pessimistic view, we see that what the society and individuals and politicians, they view solutions to corruption as, well, they view solutions to corruption as simply endless, and those that will not reap benefits in any generation. They could reap benefits way in many generations after. So like we see with China, we see China has thrived and transformed economically in the shortest possible time while thriving with high levels of corruption. So we could pick a lesson from that and simply deal with the best, have corruption as the bad situation, but do the best with it that we can as an economy. Then with the optimistic view, we see corruption as any other evil that has thrived for generations, just like prostitution from the first page you see, disease, hunger, poverty, and that with solutions in putting measures to combat corruption, just with the reforms, the sub-reforms that we have in place, the structural institutions will reap benefits of combating corruption, but not now. So we'll see benefits from institutional reforms over time.
Thank you. The neighbor there.
Thank you so much. I'm by the names of Agawa Nobat, doing a bachelor's in arts and economics year 3. My question cuts across all the 3. Thank you so much for your presentation, but you people are only looking at the causes of corruption. What about the people who look after these people who are corrupt from their young age to where they go, to the maturity rate? Now, you guys will coincide with me that by the time we grow up, you would be sent to get water, and if you refused, they would just cane you or force you to go and get the water. But now you find a parent, he's seated there is a remote across, and he's telling the kid, please, send me that remote. The kid says, Do you know what the parent would say? I'll take you out for ice cream, please send it. Now, we are growing our population and our kids with that mind of corruption. Now, in case that kid is given an opportunity and is giving out tender, and by bad luck he doesn't pass through a good institution like MUBS where you do ethics, thanks to professor, that person will expect a return. If he's to give you that contract, you have to give him something in return. So people are fighting corruption. Let us first look at how these people get corrupted. Because for another example, even in high schools, nowadays, people who are contesting for prefectship in high school, they're giving out money. Sweets. What is not happening? Let us try to motivate our population. Let us try to educate our people that we live with, that corruption should be the fight should start with us, the people.
Thank you, Pastor. Bring down the chair.
Thank you very much. I'm Odom George, a student of Bachelor of Commerce, 3rd year. Now, I will start with a simple joke that was said about our president when he visited Obama. in the lines, in the joke, they say, when Obama took Museveni on a tour of Washington, D.C., all story buildings had lights in them, except one. Now, when the president of Uganda asked Obama, how come that building has no light? Obama answered, that is a Ugandan embassy. Now, after that, Obama asked the president, what is happening? Why is it that it's only your embassy that has no light? Then the president told him, let me see what we shall do about that. Then, before he could conclusively say what he was going to do, Obama chipped in and said, I'm hearing about so many commissions of inquiries into so many things happening in Uganda. What is happening? Then the president responded and said, I will appoint a commission of inquiry to find out what is happening. Now, I am bringing this story to bring in light one big point that has been a predicament in Uganda. That is patronage. The president has for long been dragged into the midst of scandals here and there. And all this is seen as the lack of political will from the head to tackle corruption up to the root cause. So my question is, how can we fight patronage and how can we reduce corruption in all government sectors? I would suggest that, first of all, we should reduce expenditure on public service and public management and administration. Our parliament is too big for an economy like Uganda. Our cabinet is too big for an economy like Uganda. How can we do something to reduce this? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I know these gentlemen are about to run away from us. So I will use this strategy. Get 3 more so that they can be able to answer a number of them. Go there, here, and these 2 first. Has to go behind you there. The gentleman there will come to Professor Bernard Onyinyi.
Yeah, thank you, Ramadan. I have a question to Dr. John, but first of all, I want to thank General Salim Saleh. You are a very added man. I was scared when I saw you, but now I'm not scared at all. You began your presentation, Dr. Mutenyo, from academic point of view, where you alluded to agency theory as being a cause of corruption in Uganda. And there's a professor of mine who has been talking about agency theory and corruption, And I don't ask much about how it manifests itself, but you have put it more clear. Now, my question is, would you suggest an alternative theory to agency theory that can help us fight this rise? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Behind you there. I need a lady.
Thank you so much. I am Chief Serunduti. I'm the journalist at Monitor. The first question goes to whoever it may concern. Certainly, it derives from something that the URA tried to do last year. In order to fight corruption, because they know much of the money that is used to buy land is stolen from public agencies here and there. So they were saying that whoever buys land that's 50 million or more, in order for them to transfer it into their names, they first of all have to show proof that they pay taxes on the money that they used to buy the land. I spoke with some gentlemen who are preparing a memorandum. They wanted to go to the president and argue that this is dangerous for Uganda for one reason, that if that is done, people will go and buy land in Kenya. They'll buy land in Rwanda where there are no such regulations, and you will lose money. I just brought this example to, and actually what I know now is that URA does not enforce that requirement anymore. And so my question to the panelists is whether they think, actually, because one of these people was telling me that corruption is not necessarily bad in places where you have very basic levels of economic development, because it helps create a business class where there was none. that will probably have very few arcades in Kampala. If that, what you're actually telling me is that most of those arcades were built using stolen money. Then very quickly to General Saleh about his model. We declare amnesty so that the public servants come clean. What next? How do we ensure that the ones who come after them don't steal money, and then maybe 10 years, 20 years to come, we need another amnesty?
Thank you. I need one lady. The lady is here. Bring here. Gender mainstreaming is very important in Uganda.
Thank you, Ramadan. My name is Joyce Sabaluano, Ginger Campus. When I heard that General Salim Saleh was coming to discuss corruption, I expected that in his presentation we will have something like shoot to kill. If you are corrupt, after the amnesty and everything has been done, we should have a shoot to kill. Because unless we do something that is very, very, very strong, we are not going to be able to fight corruption. Because even our children in primary, they have to pay sweets for them to become prefects. So we should have something that deters people from being corrupt. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are questions will suffice for now. And Dr. Mutenyo, maybe one last from me. There is this local thesis which I'm sure you have come across, where it proposes that since corruption is like a thief who steals something from one individual, it may not affect the economy at a macro level because it's just a transfer from one economic agent to another economic agent, still within the macro economy. How true is that? We continue with it, maybe in Uganda. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, the audience, for the contribution. Happy to have a couple of questions. I don't know if I should begin from the last. Last being what? First one, is that three, four? Last being the first word, first out. Now, corruption is just a transfer. Therefore, it has no effect on the macroeconomy. I want to strongly disagree with that kind of theory. Strongly disagree with it. There are empirical studies on corruption in several countries. One of them was in Bangladesh. And then the argument was that if Bangladesh could improve, therefore reduce on the levels of corruption to the levels of Ecuador, levels of Uruguay. Remember, Uruguay is not among the best, it's just around the US. So if they could improve the levels of corruption, so that it's at the levels of what? Of Uruguay, its GDP per capita will grow by an additional 1.5. 1.5 additional GDP is a hell of money for the economy. So it can't be true. Secondly, just on a very simple arithmetic or simple understanding, we're talking about corruption not having an effect at the macro level. Now, consider a situation whereby 15 billion or so spent by one person from, say, OPM, money meant to assist our brother in the north. Now look at the multiplier effect that it would have caused in the north. Your sense of economics, so you know what by multiplier analysis. Okay? So look at the multiplier effect it would have caused. The productivity to have what generated from the north, whereby everybody is free from this simple diseases like malaria. Okay, everybody has inputs to take the agriculture. So how much output have we lost from the north?
This man is stolen by one person. He maybe puts up an arcade. How much does the government get from that arcade? How much does the government get from his personal house, his swimming pool, and so on and so on and so forth and so forth? Okay? So in terms of figures, you may think that it's the same, you steal here and you put here. So plus and minus, the same, all right? We're talking about the multiplication factor. Okay? The multiplication factor. If you're also economics, you're not talking about the multiplier analysis. So it can't be the same. Okay, so that theory to me has a problem. And then another question was from Professor Nini about the agent theory, principal agent theory, and asking if it's possible to think of another theory. Now, this principal agent theory is trying to simplify the analysis or the explanation of what goes on. Who is the corrupt? Is it my father who is peasant in the village? Is it your auntie who is just tilling goat, maize? No. It is those people who have been put in some office. By who? By government. So those people have been put there to serve government. And the goals, I mean, everything is clear. Sit here and do A, B, C, D. And you are paid for that. Now, while he is there, a person comes for the service, say a patient comes for treatment, or an investor comes, wants to open up what? Investment. Instead of doing what he's supposed to do. That's the agent now. He instead demands for additional money. He demands for a bribe. So this theory, the principle, so it's just a simplification model, which simply shows that government, who is now the principal, appoints you in this office, so you are now its agent to do the work. And then a private person or individual comes. So that's the kind of theory, the simplification I'm talking about. And then there was another question. I think, was it Agaba? How do people become what? Corrupted. You only talk about the causes, so we need to say this kid to deliver the remote, you need some ice cream first. The father promises an ice cream. So why do you look at that? This was, I think, is almost in line with what Madame said. Issue of values and norms. How do we start this? So this kid who is asking for ice cream, later on when he comes to office, he will definitely ask for a bribe. How do you solve that? To me, the answer is simple.